be that R, it be that A, it be that I, our defense bang, it be that E, it be that R, it be that S, on our chest that got us far. We be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, just wanna be that hater. We be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, we be them Raiders. Give me a stack, I'ma turn it to some racks. LA didn't wanna give us a home, but LV got us on the map. That be a fact, I've let it all on silver and black. Hard Carson and Mad Max got me in, but I've been down since the 90s. You don't want the black hole, homie, don't try me. Raiders roll deep, some say that we grind me, but we bring the revenue every time we grindin'. Third and some, and Wallace gone. Brent Fro caught it, and now he's spinning. Mariota on third, he's sprinting. R.I.P. Madden, all Davis, and all of the Raiders fans that we lost since the beginning. It be that R, it be that A, it be that I, our defense bang. It be that E, it be that R, it be that S on our chest that got us far. We be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, just wanna be the hater.
Yo, what's going on, everybody, man? Salute to everybody in the building, man. Welcome to Protect the Shield podcast. I'm your boy, Chris, where my opinions might not always be popular, but they'll always be authentic. And they're not popular all the time, man. That's for sure, man. But shout out to y'all, man. Welcome to Fan Talk Friday, man. Home of the Shield Squad, the most dangerous chat in the building, man. So what's going on, man? Shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. You guys know I always give it up to the chat, man, as soon as I start, man. So first of all, you know, I gotta give some love to the chat, man. Everyone that's part of the Shield Squad. Gotta hit up that Shield Squad salute, baby. Shout out to my boy Billy Davis in the building, man. He says, so what's up, Raider Nation? Shout out to you, Billy Davis. Appreciate you coming through. Got my boy UEP in the building, man. Appreciate you, my guy. My boy Leo, a.k.a. Cheeto Linus in the building, man. Appreciate you. Got my girl Myra G in the building. Shield Squad joining poolside. Shout out to you, poolside. Got my girl, Ana Diaz. Shout out to Ana Diaz, man. How are you doing? A longtime member, a big supporter of the channel, man. Much love to Ana Diaz. Appreciate you. Myra said, Chris is on CP time. Hey, you know what I'm saying? You know, fashionably late. You know, it's all good. But yeah, shout out, man. Shield Squad in the building. My boy Anthony Estrada in the building, man. What's going on? My people in the panel and chat. Appreciate you coming through. Got Ernest in the building, man. Appreciate it. The old silverback in the house. What's going on, Ernest, man? Appreciate you stopping through, my guy. Let's see what we got else in here, man. Got my boy Dub Raider, man. Shout out to Walter in the building, man. Appreciate it, man. So I appreciate everybody that's in the building. People that's on Twitter, man. Appreciate you guys. And also my people that's over in IG, man. Appreciate everybody that's over at IG. If you guys want to participate in the conversation, you got to come on over to the YouTube channel, man, so I can see you in the chat. But I do appreciate everybody that's in the building, man. Got my boy Sam in the building as well, man. So I appreciate everybody. And then while you guys are here, man, hit the thumbs up for me, man. You guys don't understand, that helps the channel more than you know, man. You know, it's free. It takes a second, man. So just shout out to everybody, man. So man, I got a lot to talk about, man. Of course, definitely got a lot to talk about. Got a great guest today, man. He's getting ready to pull up any minute now. So my boy, he's one of the few people that get under people's skin just like I do, man. So my boy, he'll be pulling up in a second, man. Before I get him from backstage, man, shout out to my boy Leo, Cheeto Linus, man. We are having a raffle, which a lot of you guys know about. So we're actually But anyway, man, so there's a lot to talk about, man. You know, one thing I really wanted to kind of discuss today, man. Oh, I said, oh, I muted myself. Damn. So y'all couldn't hear me that whole time? Well, okay, I'll say it again. But anyway, I was basically saying that only 10 spots left. You know, most of you guys have already been hitting up me and Leo. Only $10 for entry, and it's fire tickets too. They're in the black hole. Row 8, actually, right in the black hole, man. So definitely hit us up. Only $10 spots. We only got 10 left. So definitely hit us up, and appreciate everybody that's already kind of pulled up and linked up with us for that. So we're going to do the raffle live on the show as well, man. So again, hit up myself or my boy Cheeto Linus so we can get that taken care of for y'all, man. But again, I appreciate all the support you guys been giving, man, showing a lot of love. And Leo and I, we're going to raffle off a couple more a little bit later on. Just wanted to see how this first one would go. So shout out to you guys, man. But now, I know you guys are tired of hearing me talk. I got my boy in the building, man, and I want to let you know. And now that I finally got him here, man, as much as like Aaron Rodgers is pursuing Severe, that's how. I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers been pursuing DaVante. That's how much I've been pursuing this man. He got me. I've been trying to link up with my dude for a minute, man. He got to come to the front of the building, in front of the classroom, and explain himself. But now that's my boy. Me and him, we bump heads on some views, but we agree on a lot too. So, man, I'm very honored to have my boy in the building. My boy Severe Raider. What's happening, fam?
What's going on, man? What's going on? It is a pleasure, man, to finally be here, brother. Pleasure.
Hey.
Been trying to get on here for the longest, man.
For the longest, man. That's all good, man. I'm glad to actually have you on here, man. We got stuff to talk about. I definitely appreciate your channel, man. Before we even get started, man, mostly everybody in my chat, probably know you. I know you be getting people riled up just like I do, and I love every bit of it, man. So,
Yeah.
But tell everybody where they can find you and kind of what you got going on, man.
Oh yeah, man. Y'all can find me at the Severe Raider on YouTube, at the Severe Raider on Instagram, at the Severe Raider on X, at the Severe Raider on Snapchat, at the Severe Raider on TikTok, pretty much everywhere, man. It's all the Severe Raider. Yeah, man, I got, every Monday night, me and my boy Pharaoh, we hook up and we got our show. It's the 50-50 show. Chris has been on there, man. It was a pleasure having him on there, man. We got to have him back because that was a blast. And then we got Around the Shield with my guy Big Mike. Took a little hiatus from that, but we're gonna be getting that going back. And then I got my own stuff coming on. I got some stuff I'm working on, man, behind the scenes. I keep saying I'm going to drop some stuff, man. But I've been working on some stuff, so y'all look out for that. But I'm the dude that gets everybody mad, man. I'm the dude whether it's in the chat, whether it's on the live, whatever, man. I'm the people that gets the folks riled up, man. So I'm here for it.
I love it. The good thing is a lot of times we be aligned on some stuff, man. It'd be funny because I love our fans, man. I love the chat, but sometimes like I just think I see things differently, you know what I'm saying? And that's honestly why I started this platform, because like I can literally see something and I hear someone else talk about it and I'm like, I did not see that at all, or I didn't interpret it like that at all. Yeah. And it's just I don't know. I guess that's just how it is, man. How it is. It's starting off, man. I mean, we might as well ruffle some feathers anyway, man. So that's how we do. So one thing, there's been a lot of talk about DaVante over the last couple of days because of the Netflix show. And so he just been on his press run, going to a lot of different places. So a lot of people are talking about, the quote that he had, talking about the quarterback situation, the quarterback battle and stuff like that. So you see, images like this all over. So, when you see this, it says, I want whoever's going to look the best when it's live bullets. I think right now, if I had to say, I think Aiden has a job. And a lot of times when people put the graphic, they just stop it there.
Yeah,
that's it. You notice that they barely ever play the whole thing.
Yeah.
So before I go into your thoughts, man, I'm gonna go ahead and play the whole thing so people get everything that he said.
How the quarterback position playing out?
It's kind of soft.
Well, I mean, I want whoever's going to look the best, when it's time, when it's live bullets. So at the end of the day, I don't have a preference other than the fact that I want somebody that's confident and ready to go when it's time to do it. So whoever that is, that's who I want throwing the ball. I think right now, if I had to say, I think Aiden has the job because, obviously he was here before and that's the way that it was. He was running with the ones more, and until Gardner comes in and, takes the job away from him, I think it's Aiden's job right now. And he doing what he got to do to hold on to it. We still got to keep working and, do what we got to do to grow and get better. We could definitely get better than where we are. He and I, our connection, him individually, even me. At this point in the year, this is not where you are going to show your best. So, throughout camp, when we start really going, the pads is on and, we're doing the real deal. I think that's when.
So I know that was a little soft, so I'm not sure if everybody could hear it though. But the biggest thing for me to take away is, he's saying he don't really have a preference. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have a preference. He's just basically saying Aiden is going to get the first shot. And to me, that is nothing different than what AP's already told us. To me, this is no news. But people are trying to make this seem like, oh, DaVante's already putting a stamp of approval on Aiden. He said he's going to win. I didn't get that. And again, I look at things a lot differently than most other people. So when I'm saying this to other people, they think I'm crazy or I'm hating. What do you think about it, man?
Yeah, man, exactly, man. It's an open competition right now. But Aiden was a guy that was here last year, right? Aiden is a guy that already has some ties to the team. He already has some familiarity with the guys on the roster. So he should be the guy that's starting out. Like it would be a huge concern if he wasn't the guy that was starting out. But I will say this, and I was on the Turf and Rundown show. Shout out to them. But I said that it's a bit of a concern that a guy that was here all of last year, even though he only started, the back half of the season, but that's 9 games, he had with the team starting. And then the entire offseason before we signed Gardner, the fact that he's barely ahead of Gardner right now, essentially a 50-50 proposition, like that's a little bit of a concern because, we're used to offenses being behind defenses because these offenses is all about timing and rhythm. So a quarterback that's been throwing to these guys for those 9 games, most of these guys, and then plus, he's been getting in this work with these guys this offseason too. So the timing and rhythm part, he should be light years ahead of even Gardner. And the fact that Gardner is still that close, that tells you it's like, like what's going on there, right? Like it shouldn't be. It should be clear cut Aiden. And the fact that it's not clear cut Aiden, it tells me that the coaching staff either sees something or they don't see something yet.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly how I feel, man. And because first I feel
you're a hater. That's why, Chris, you're a hater.
Oh, they think I'm a hater because like I said, I keep saying now, and I have to be honest. Like, what's best for the Raiders is if Aiden just balls out and he becomes our franchise quarterback. We got him on a rookie deal. That is what we all would love to happen. Now, if people think that like if Aiden comes out balling, they're gonna just be pointing their finger at like, no, I would love for that to happen. I just don't think it's gonna happen. That's all it is. But I'm not a hater. I just, like you said, he's already been there. I know it's a brand new system, but he does have more of the timing down because they said he's been practicing with Trey Tucker basically all off season. So I mean, I would hope that he would have that, but for it to not even it still be neck and neck. I mean, one thing that people are, aren't considering is, also reports are saying that Minshew's already understand the offense. He's already checking plays and making all like, bro. I mean, the real evaluation don't start until training camp. Like OTAs, like I always say, they out there in booty shorts and t-shirts, man. Like they ain't doing, but now we're in training camp and you already got a guy who knows the offense. I mean, I don't know what to tell people that are married to AOC. I don't know what to tell them.
And I completely agree. Like the ideal situation for the Raiders is to say Aiden is our guy. We got team control over him for another, if you include this year, 3 seasons, right? On a very inexpensive deal. And so like if we don't have to worry about the quarterback position going forward, that's gravy. And we got a quarterback on an extremely cheap deal, even cheaper than what a first-round quarterback or a second-round quarterback would be, right? Yeah. Like, that's the ideal situation. So, all things being equal, I want Aiden to take that next step. Exactly. But I can't lie and say, like, oh, he's Like he's proven to me he's the guy
Right.
because he hasn't. And the fact, and another point is that Aiden's style of game should look better in these situations, right?
Exactly.
He's a precision guy. He's not a guy like in a controlled environment where you really can't get hit by a defensive player. Like
He
this is where he should shine. Where Gardner is going to be better is in like in the scramble situations when he has to improvise and do those type of things. So like I go back to the original point, the fact that it's still this close when all the parameters are essentially set up for
Yeah.
Aiden to be the most successful, and the fact that Gardner is still like closing that gap, and by the end of training camp, who knows if he will have closed it completely. Like, so I want Aiden to take that next step, but he has to do it. I can't will it for him. He has to do it.
Exactly. No, that's so true, and that's exactly how I feel. Like when I'm talking to other people, and they, like I said, they endlessly just think I'm hating. I mean, that is just not the case because like you said, during this time of year, like think about like how good we always heard Derek Carr was looking during this time of year. Because when Derek feels safe and comfortable, Derek will dot you up. I mean, that's all there's to it.
Yeah.
He'll dot you up. But then when Derek gets in trouble is when someone crosses his path or someone gets close to him and he has to kind of move off his spot. That's where Derek gets in trouble. And it's more or less after he got injured. He wasn't necessarily like that, in 2016. He still had, a different mindset, I think. But yeah, like any guy like with Aiden's, skill set and attributes should light it up. Like it should not even be close. Now, one thing that DaVante said in the quote was he wants to see who looks best when it's live bullets. When I think about that, I'm thinking about off script. I'm thinking about Max Crosby or Nick Bosa or whoever beats their guy. And now you got to get the heck out of there and run and make something happen. Who's better under those circumstances?
Exactly. Nah, man, 100%. Like I think about those times, and hate to talk about this team, but you think about the 49ers when they had Jeff Garcia, right? Like Jeff Garcia was he was a guy that was a backup, and it wasn't until it's because he wasn't really impressive in those training camps and in those mini camps.
Yeah.
But once he got into the game, he proved, hey, you know what? I'm a competent NFL quarterback. He wasn't a world beater, but he was good enough to get the job done. And I think of Gardner that same way, right? He's a guy with a lot of moxie, a lot of smarts. A guy that's charismatic. Like I compare him to Jeff Garcia a lot. Not super mobile, but mobile enough. He can hurt you if he needs to. He's that style of guy. So in those situations where the bullets are flying, he's gonna keep his cool. He's gonna keep everybody else cool, and then he's gonna be able to maneuver himself and put himself in positions to make throws and make plays. We did it last year. He came in for Anthony Richardson, had the Colts on the cusp of the playoffs. If not for CJ Stroud being CJ Stroud, the Colts would have been in the playoffs. So, I just think that it's a good. I don't want to say it's a good problem to have because like they say, if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks.
True.
You'd rather have a clear-cut guy, but the fact that we have two competent guys that the coaching staff will feel comfortable running the offense, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You'd rather one clear-cut guy and the backup guy they feel confident in, but the fact that we have two guys that can, get the job done, a lot of times NFL is a war of attrition. So guys are going to get hurt, and if we got a guy that can step in his place and get the job done if need be, then that's better for us.
Yeah, no, I agree 1,000%. Wow, Jeff Garcia, that's a good one. That's a good comp. Because people only think about maybe the Garcia when he was with us. You know what I'm saying? But if you think about like that San Francisco Garcia used to get busy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he used to get busy. So no, that's a good player comp for real. And another thing, just kind of shifting a little bit, but again, another thing that I feel that our fan base has to kind of get a little bit better as is like really being objective. I know we're all fans. We would love our team to go to the Super Bowl every year. There's different reports about different things. People are just lose their mind over certain stuff. So I think a couple weeks ago, it was said that Max Crosby was rated 5th, as far as the pass rushers. And I know my boy Rundown and Turf, you know, that they had their show yesterday, and then they kind of talked about it. And it is like, again, I bleed silver and black. I love this team, but it's like, and I love Max.
Yeah.
Only thing I say is I don't think it's unfair to have him at 5. People think that is just the craziest thing for him to be number 5. Like, to me, number 5 is great. That you're part of the elite of the NFL.
Yeah.
But these guys, they want our players to always be number 1 on everything. I mean, what's your thought about him being 5? And am I crazy for not thinking number 5 is off base?
Nah, man, that is completely fair, because it's not like the guys in front of him are some bums.
Thank you.
Right? You have, I want to say, 3 guys that won Defensive Player of the Year before, and 1 guy that's been runner-up twice. So it's like it's not like, you know, Max has yet to get has he even gotten the first place? I know last year he got no first place votes. I don't think he's gotten the first place vote for a Defensive Player of the Year yet.
No, hasn't even.
Put this in perspective.
He hasn't even been first team all team yet.
Yeah, Deron Bland has more first place Defensive Player of the Year votes than Max Crosby.
Right
Now, if you ask me personally, in my heart, Max Crosby is number 1. Right?
Okay.
I think Max Crosby he's one not like top 5 defensive end. I think he's a top 5 defensive player.
Yeah.
But until this team wins, he's not going to be recognized as such.
Exactly.
I talked about this with Turf Rundown as well, right? It was like two years ago. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's asking me to give him my top receivers, and I put Amon-Ra St. Brown as one of my top receivers, and this is before anybody knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like what? Like, who is this guy? Like, how you have him in the top 5? I was like, watch him play. Look at what he does. This is not like, it's not a popularity contest.
Exactly.
It's playing on the field. But, you know, a lot of people rate defensive play or rate players, period, based on popularity. And until the Raiders start winning more, Max isn't going to get that shine and that recognition. Among his peers, he will. But among the media and the writers, the people who make these lists, he's not going to get that shine.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just, like, to me, it's, you know, it's all about preference on what you like. When I look at those other players, they're all dogs. I love Max because his endless motor, he refuses to come off the field. You know, he gets a lot of tackles for loss. He gets a lot of pressure, stuff like that. But, you know, like when I look at like Myles Garrett, he don't play as much. Like, because and honestly, he does what Howie Long said Max should do. Maybe not play every rep.
Yeah.
You know, so you can be, you know, in your top form on those important reps. But you know, I don't know, man. It's just like when I look at it, I'm like, Max is a dog. But when I'm really kind of just focusing on like, is 5 bad? Just people really think I'm crazy with that. And I don't know, man. It's just and then not even that. So that's one thing. Then the whole Christian Wilkins.
Yeah.
They say he's number 6.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts of him being number 6 on the list?
I mean, I had no bones with that at all, man. The guys that are in front of him are all dogs. I mean, you know, like Jeffrey Simmons, Quentin Williams, like these are like the creme de la creme, right?
Exactly.
And you think about Christian Wilkins, like his first 2 years in the league, especially his rookie year, it wasn't good at all. His second year wasn't really that good. Like, even he thought he was on the verge of getting cut or getting moved, right? So, you know, and then he's turned it on. So that's part of it as well. You know, like these people, they want to see a longer body of work. He had a great year last year. I think he kind of solidified himself as one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league. But the guys that are in front of him, they've, you know, shown more consistency. So I have no problem with him being rated there. And like, all these guys have a chance to prove the list wrong, right? This is not set in stone.
Exactly.
So, like, if they come out and they handle their business, like they'll get moved up. So I mean, that's how it works.
Yeah. No, and I agree. And plus, I mean, you know, he's never played with someone like Max, and Max never played with someone like him. Like, them two are going to be so interchangeable. Because I honestly, as much as I like those other guys that are ahead of him, I gotta say the best fit in Max or match for Max is Christian, just because of his motor.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to get upfield. He has good hands. You know, he's going to be the guy that's chasing Mahomes around. Like, he's a big guy, but he can move. He's agile. Whereas, you know, someone like Jeffrey Simmons, you know, those guys are power guys. But to to me, I think he is in the best situation, and we really got us a dog. And I think, like you said, it's not set in stone, but you know, he'll show that he's dominant in the first few games, and then that list can change right away.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like if we go out and we have one of the best defenses in the league, and we actually have a winning record, what's going to hurt us a little bit is that there's not a lot of primetime games. Like in the past, we've had a lot more primetime games. This year, you know, I think a little bit of luster is off the team because we really haven't executed these past 2 years. So they didn't give us quite as many, nationally televised games. So it won't be quite as many eyes on us. But if we make a run and we start winning games, like they're going to talk about that, because the AP thing, that's going to be a great story. And a lot of people around the NFL and AP having worked in the media, a lot of people in the media, they love Antonio Pierce. So they're going to want to cover the team if he's doing well. So I think that's going to be, that's going to be something that's going to help us out as well.
And I love that you talked about primetime games, and I love that you talk about AP, because Dion believes that Antonio Pierce is an answer for the Raiders. I mean, he is raving about AP. Not sure if you had a chance to see what he said about AP, but listen up if y'all didn't hear.
AP, my dog.
Yeah, I know.
Dog meaning, man's best friend. One of the best in the business. It's not a mistake that he accomplished what he accomplished last year. It's not a mistake that he's now the head coach of the Raiders. It's not a mistake that he's a leader, motivator, knows X's and O's. Just a good dude. It's not a mistake. Players know players, players know situations, players know the game, players know football, players know people. So that translates because players want to play with players and for players, because we understand one another. And AP has that edge, man.
He sounds a little choppy, but yeah, so he's basically saying that, he's a fan of them, and he knows that players want to play with other players, alpha males, alpha dogs like that. What's your thoughts when you hear someone like Prime say that? I mean, and this isn't something that's just new. We hear endless ex-players say stuff like that. Howie said something like that. I mean, these are guys that played at a high level, got gold jackets, saying this about AP. What's your thoughts when you hear someone like Prime say that?
Yeah, man, I love to hear it, man. When you think about just alphas, right? Like Prime Time is one of the ultimate alphas.
Yeah.
Just as a player, as a personality, as a leader, like everything he does, it screams a guy that's an alpha. So for him to have that kind of respect for our head coach, as intelligent as Josh McDaniel was, right? And we like to give him a lot of crap, but X's and O's wise, that guy's a genius. But he lacked everything else needed to be a head coach.
Yeah.
And while AP, I don't think he's quite the same level in terms of X's and O's as Josh McDaniels. He has everything else you want in spades, whether it be leadership, whether it be motivation, whether it be work ethic, all that stuff he has. And that's the kind of stuff you really can't teach. And the fact that, and another thing that separates them is ego. Antonio Pierce, or as being a great leader as he is, being an alpha that he is, being a former player, he has no ego, right? I criticized him a lot last year for his game management. That's one of the things that made me kind of hesitant, like, should this be the guy that gets the job? So what did he do? He brings in a Marvin Lewis. He hires a guy that's going to be in charge of clock management and in charge of challenges, right? He hired for his weaknesses so he can focus on his strengths. So I think it was a great move. Like I said, I was initially a little hesitant on him being the guy, but if I'm wrong, like, I'm willing to admit I'm wrong, and I think I was wrong on my initial reservations about him, and I'm glad that Mark Davis made this hire.
So were you a Harbaugh guy? I can't remember during that time, man.
No, I was a Bobby Slowick guy. Bobby Slowick or Ben Johnson guy. I've been talking about Ben Johnson since like last year, since before people were talking about him. I've been talking about Bobby Slowick since last year. Another guy I've been talking about who's going to probably be a head coaching candidate in the near future is Gerard Johnson, who's the quarterback coach for the Texans as well. These are all guys I was talking about like before like they got hot and it was like, oh, like these are
Yeah,
the
now they're a household name.
and
Yeah.
now they're household names. But these are guys I was talking about early last year, and that's the kind of direction I wanted to go. Was, hey, you know what? I expected us to draft a quarterback. That's part of the reason I wanted a young offensive mind to be in
Yeah.
there. But hey, you know what? Like we zigged and where everybody else is zagging, right? Like everybody else is going for those hot offensive minds, those guys. Like I don't mind having that defensive guy, right? The teams that have been consistently good for the most part, look at Pittsburgh, their
Pittsburgh,
head
yeah.
coach, defensive guy. The Patriots, they've kind of fallen off, but what was he? Defensive guy. The Titans were good forever, consistent. Mike
Yeah.
Vrabel, defensive guy.
Good point.
So, Brian Flores, even though, he ended up losing his job, but when he had
Oh,
the
he was a
Dolphins,
great defensive mind. Yeah.
he turned the Dolphins around, defensive mind. So these guys are getting into these positions and they're doing a good job. And I think, Antonio Pierce has all the characteristics to be a successful head coach.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think for one, I think AP doesn't get enough credit for his X's and O's. And again, he's not going to be like McDaniels. Because to be honest, if we have to be honest and objective, I mean, McDaniels will go down as one of the best offensive minds.
Yeah.
But he just couldn't lead the men like he should have. But just like I said yesterday, we're talking about AP. We're talking about a guy who was a quarterback of the defense of a defense that beat one of the best offenses in history, especially the one when the Patriots had Randy Moss. That literally, I think, was probably statistically was the best offenses that we've seen, or at least one of the top ones. But I mean, this guy is
the highest point differential, if nothing else.
yeah, like they went nuts that year. He's a cerebral guy. I mean, because he didn't win, or he wasn't good based off of his size and stature. Like he wasn't super fast. He was. Can you still hear me? Or did I...
Yeah. You cut off a little bit on the last.
Okay. All right, my bad. But yeah, all I was saying that he was undersized, so he wasn't the biggest guy, wasn't the fastest guy, but he played off of instinct. He was able to, read things and his film study, stuff like that. So I don't know why people just think just because he's kind of a rah-rah in your face guy that he's not, a student of the game. I think we have to change that narrative, and I think he'll do it this year. And then not only that, you got someone that arguably helped build and coach the best defense, to me, the best defense I've ever seen in that Ravens with, Marvin Lewis. So, people going to have to put some respect on AP's name for sure.
Nah, for sure, man. And like you said, on a team with Justin Tuck and Michael Strahan and OCU Muir, like Antonio Pierce was the leader, right? So that should tell you the caliber of a leader and the caliber of a man that he is, and the fact that he demanded those guys respects, right? Like Michael Strahan, Hall of Famer, Justin Tuck, possibly. OCU Muir was a very good player for a long time. So the fact that he commanded those guys respect, that tells you, like, if I can command the respect of these guys, I'm sure I can command the respect of these current guys as well.
Oh yeah, and the fact that he still has that relationship with Tom Coughlin.
Yes.
People can say what they want about him, but Tom was a great coach. He was a real disciplinarian. That kind of hurt him at the end. But the thing is, AP learned from that. You know what I'm saying? Like AP, he's not being that. So and so I'm looking at the rankings. I'm not sure if you saw just some of the head coach rankings. This is according to CBS Sports. We were kind of talking about AP. So, I think I'm not mad with, the top three, Andy Reid, McVay, Shanahan, John Harbaugh, LaFleur, Tomlin. Things get real sticky for me on this Jim Harbaugh, bro. That gets real sticky. Dan Campbell, McDermott, Stefanski. So what's your thoughts on this top 10? And then we'll go to the bottom half after that. But what's your initial thoughts?
I do not think Jim Harbaugh should jump directly back into the top 10.
Ain't that crazy?
Like, he should not jump. Because this is like they say, man, the NFL, like, not only does it change from year to year, sometimes it changes from week to week.
Exactly.
The fact that he hasn't been in the NFL since 2013, I believe.
Yeah, 13 or 14. Yep.
So, like, it's a completely different game. it's a completely different game. So, and guys like Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay are guys that help kind of change the game. Like those guys
Right.
using the ghost motion and the outside read stuff that they're doing. Like, so I mean, he shouldn't jump directly back in the top 10. I think that they're giving him like a legacy ranking, but
Exactly.
like that's
Is his
I
last
don't think
name
he should
based on
go
his
with
last name?
exactly. So I mean, we'll see what those rankings look like next year.
Right. I just saw that it cracked me up. Just kind of looking at the bottom part of it. So 11 through 32. So 'cause honestly, I'm surprised Mike McDaniel didn't make that top 10, honestly. Just
Yeah,
kind of what he did with that offense.
like
But just kind of look at, I mean, I like seeing D'Amico Ryan's kind of up there. You know, he
yeah.
does his thing. Mike McCarthy at 17. I mean, Sean Payton's getting some love where, that's Dan Quinn. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But they got Antonio at 28, which I mean I'm not too upset about because he just has to earn it and improve it. But some of these other guys do too. Honestly, I think some other guys are getting the benefit of the doubt where they're not giving it to Antonio Pierce. So does anything stick out just looking at this part of the list?
Mike McDaniel, D'Amico Ryans, Zach Taylor, like Kevin O'Connell. I think when Kevin O'Connell did he go to 2 NFC championships? Or he went to the NFC championship game. I want to say Zach Taylor's been to a Super Bowl. Mike McDaniel, like he's one of the best offenses in the
Yeah.
league. Like all these guys should be ahead of Jim Harbaugh just coming
Right.
back to the league. Shane Steichen should be ahead of him, in my opinion. Just seeing what he did last year, seeing what he did. We saw what he did with the Eagles as offensive coordinator, but just seeing what he did with the coach last year after they lost, a top 5 pick at quarterback. The only one I wholeheartedly agree with is Dennis Allen being dead last because that dude should have been
Right.
fired. I don't know how he kept his job, man.
Bro.
Mickey Loomis has crazy power in New Orleans because Dennis Allen should be out the door. Everybody knows
Out
it.
the door, man. I mean, oh man. And the crazy thing is, even this year, if they're bad, they'll probably figure out a way to make someone else a scapegoat.
No, facts.
Honestly. So yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I was just curious on what your thoughts about that.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
I will put Antonio Pierce in front of Dave Canales. Like Antonio Pierce has won games as a head coach. Like
yeah,
Dave Canales, like he's never there's no guys that have never been a head coach and won games that should be ahead of Antonio
right.
Pierce. It doesn't make any sense. Like he's
None.
already proven that he can win games as a head coach and
Yeah.
be above 500. So
Yeah.
like the fact that any person that hasn't coached an NFL game yet as a head coach is in front of him, I think is ridiculous.
And honestly, even the Jets coach, I
Yeah.
mean, to me, yeah, he lost his star quarterback last year, but honestly, I think if Aaron stays healthy, he's taking them quite far. I think he's a good coach, honestly. I don't even know how he could be that low. So that's kind of wild.
No, I agree 100%. Like you said, man, like it's a quarterback-driven league. So if you're able to find that quarterback, that's very important to your head coach, right? Especially if you're a defensive guy. Like you depend a lot on the quarterback and your offensive coordinator, and the fact that he lost the guy that he thought essentially was going to be like, you have Aaron Rodgers on the field. That's your pseudo offensive coordinator, right? He's calling a lot of stuff from the huddle. So the fact they lost him like not even one quarter into the first game of the season, like that had to be devastating. And when you have to turn to Zach Wilson,
Bro.
like, man, come on, man. Come
Right.
on.
Right. Yeah, don't get no worse of this. Shout out to my boy Leo, man. He said, after watching receiver, all I can say is F Jimmy and F Josh McDaniels. Thank goodness for AP.
Why you F Jimmy?
Hey,
Jimmy
man.
didn't play well, but like, man, for everything we know, Jimmy was a great teammate.
Great
Like,
teammate.
a great teammate. Like Aiden said it. Like when Aiden had that big game, like the first guy congratulating him was Jimmy. Jimmy could have been spoiled grapes about it, right? Like you guys taking me out for this rookie who hasn't
He could
proven
have been like
himself.
Derek Carr. He could have acted
Exactly.
like Derek Carr.
Nah, facts. The only the only action we had seen of him at that point was against the Chargers. We threw the 3 interceptions. not yeah, through well, yeah, the one to say through 3 interceptions, fumbled multiple times. Like he could have made a real stink about it, but
Yeah.
he wasn't. He didn't. Like he was a model teammate. He was a great teammate, throughout his entire time here. Like he didn't get the job done, but
Yeah.
yeah, you can say FJMD because he kind of screwed us.
Yeah.
So,
Nah, he did. He did.
but
But I will say you, DaVante. So, that's kind of what we'll talk about next, man. But my man did throw some hospital balls, man.
he did.
And I forgot how many big hits that DaVante took. I mean, just after a while, I remember during the season, I'm just like, they're gonna kill this guy, man.
Yeah.
And I think this was a perfect year to get a DaVante kind of mic'd up. And one thing about DaVante, and I love him. We'll kind of get into it now. Is just did you see the whole series? Did you finish it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I did, yeah.
So, one thing I want to say about DaVante is I'm tired of people with all these trade rumors and act like he doesn't want to be here. I mean, the guy clearly wants to be here. He wants to make it work. But what he's saying is he don't have time to waste. He ain't got time for the games, man. He ain't got time for the BS. That's what he's saying. Like if he's going to be around, an atmosphere of guys that don't want to have that high standard that he has, then yeah, it's a waste of time for everybody. That's what he's ultimately getting to. He's tired of it, and he even said like he didn't necessarily dislike Josh McDaniels. It was just like the product. He said we worked hard at it, we did what we were supposed to do, but the wins just didn't come. I mean, and that's one thing I love about DaVante. I mean, he showed it. I mean, he played hurt. I mean, there's times that he had that AC joint injury. He could have sat it down. He could have sat it down like my boy Waller would have did, man. But he got that shot and got back out there and was balling. So but yeah, so what's some of the takeaways that you got just from watching that, just with Waller as a whole? Sorry,
watching the series. If I say watching Waller, I got a lot of takeaways from that. But
a whole different conversation.
A whole different conversation. Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm glad we got behind the scenes to see what some of DaVante's thoughts and some of what he was feeling. I'm a guy like DaVante is my favorite player in the league right now, right? He's been my favorite player since he was with Green Bay. So he's my favorite player, and I was critical of some of the stuff he did last year, some of the throwing of the helmets and some of that stuff. But but now seeing it, this series, it kind of humanizes people. So I have a better understanding of where he's coming from, but like that's also why I was such a big advocate of us getting a star quarterback, because I think that if we get that guy, you see what the Texans were able to do with CJ Stroud, right? It totally transformed their organization. And I was a big Jaden Daniels guy early on. I think like at week 3 or week 4 of the college football season, I had him as QB1. Everybody's ripping and raving about Caleb Williams. I had him as QB1. I had Michael Penix as my QB2. So I would have been happy with either one of those guys. I didn't really like Caleb just because of the maturity side of things. I was out on him. So no, that's why I wanted a guy like that so badly, just for DaVante, because you get that guy in here, by year 2 or year 3, you see what the Bengals were able to do, right? Like they got Joe Burrow. I think he was hurt that first year.
First year, yeah.
But then as soon as he comes back, they hit the ground running. And when he's healthy, they're one of the best teams in the league. So if you can put a quarterback like that on this team with these weapons, I think that we can start delivering for DaVante. And right now, we're kind of in a wait and see mode. So like this process that ideally should have started last year if we would have did what we were supposed to do and draft CJ Stroud, and possibly could have started this year if we would have traded up and got a QB, might have to wait an additional year. And the guy that's DaVante's age, even though his game, the way he plays, it'll age well.
Yeah.
But he has a finite amount of time, right? He's closer to the end of his career than the beginning. This is year 10, year 11 for him.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to win. So and I'm sure seeing a guy like Jordan Love do what he's doing over there with those guys right now, I'm sure it's a little bit of like, dang, like if I was over there with those guys, like we had a chance to really compete. And so like I want that for him, because if not, like if we're not going to win, or we're not going to really give our all to win, what's the point of having a guy like that on our team?
Trade him. Yeah.
There's no point. get what you can get for him,
Yep.
and let him go to a winning situation where he can fulfill what he needs, and that only helps us, because if we're not trying to win, if we're trying to gather assets and do all these other things, then get rid of this guy who's older, who's extremely expensive at that position, and get some younger, cheaper guys and fill out the roster.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think yeah, and that's why I don't like the trade DaVante talk, because I don't think we're at the point where we need to just be big sellers. You
No.
know, like I think we still, and I know one thing about you. I know you didn't necessarily like our draft this year. Like I did, you know, especially early on, because, you know, like I said, everyone knows I was real big on JPJ. And the fact that we got Brad
Yeah.
Bowers, I know you're not really too big on
Yeah.
drafting him based on the need. I know you don't dislike him as a prospect, but
Exactly.
I but I think that, you know, if we just have a quarterback, I know we all want a star, but if we just have a quarterback that can just make the right reads, don't turn the ball over, I really think we're going to be hard to beat, man. You know, Brock Bowers is going to surprise a lot of people. I don't think people realize how nasty he's about to be. I think people may think I'm crazy, but I truly think by the end of this year, he'll be considered, you know, like neck and neck with Laporta. Honestly, like he'll be that good, that quick. That's just my thought, because to me, he's overall better prospect than him. So I
Yeah.
don't know. What's your thoughts there, though?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the Brock Bowers pick just because, like I said, I've watched. I mean, every year, right after we draft, you know, I watch like all 22 of these guys, right? So I've
Mm,
seen every single target, every single catch, every single carry that Brock Bowers has made in his Georgia career. And I will say that his first year, his freshman year, he came out, he was a baller, you know, instantly, right? And that's
yeah.
tough to do in the SEC. So that
Yeah.
that
Oh
tells
yeah.
you
Oh yeah.
the kind of player he was, right? He puts up 13 touchdowns at his freshman year. The next year, he puts up 7 touchdowns. The next year, he puts up 6 touchdowns. So every year got a little bit worse.
He got hurt
It,
though.
he
Didn't
did
he
get
get
hurt.
hurt? Yeah.
He did get hurt, and that could happen with his style of play. That's another thing. His
That's
style of
true.
play, right? And the thing I noticed about Brock Bowers, and this is why I was critical of him, right? And it's not necessarily that I think he's a bad player. I just think that Georgia schemed him open a lot, right? They ran a lot of screens, a lot of drag routes, a lot of, you know, let's clear one side of the field, give Brock Bowers a two-way go, give him a one-on-one matchup with the guy where they put a defender in a bind where he has to guard a whole bunch of grass. And Brock Bowers is a good athlete, so if he's in a one-on-one situation, he's going to win those type of situations. Where I didn't see is him winning a lot underneath, winning a lot based on, hey, you know what, I'm finding these zones. Like he has a tendency to drift in zones. Like I didn't see him do a lot of that stuff. And where I did see, you know, Michael Mayer do that kind of stuff when he was at Notre Dame. And I think if Michael Mayer had better QB play at Notre Dame, I think we would have had him in higher regard coming out. And he was still a hell of a prospect, you know, when he left Notre Dame. So that's who I'm looking at having a big
It's
year this year.
Mayer.
I'm looking at Mayer. I think Brock Bowers will be effective. Like I said in the past, I think between the 20s, I think Brock Bowers is a guy where when you have that kind of room, like he's a guy that can win in space. But
Yeah.
a guy that can win in close court, but he's also not a jump ball guy. That's another thing I was kind of critical of him. He's not a guy that's gonna, you know, like take it off the top shelf on you.
You
He's
think
not that
though?
kind of guy.
I
Yeah,
don't
he's
know.
not, and he's not. And another thing is he's not good at the catch point. So if somebody's real physical with him at the catch point, he has a tendency to drop some passes. So
Yeah.
that's what a criticism. But Michael Mayer, he's very good in those type of situations. So I think that, you know, between the 20s, I think we'll be hopefully, I'm hoping we'll be very creative with Brock Bowers, and scheme him open. Let him get some carries as well, right? You know, like hey, like shift him to the backfield and give him a toss and let him do his thing. Because with the
Yeah.
ball in his hands, like I said it
Yeah.
before, I don't think I've ever seen a college player that size that good with the ball in his hands.
Oh yeah.
So and the thing with good Lou Getsy is I think the Bears were 10th last year in 12 personnel. So we're going to
Mm.
use a lot of 12 personnel. Those guys are going to be on the field a lot. But I just think between the 20s, I think it's going to be Brock, and I think, you know, toward the red zone, I think Michael Mayer is going to get off.
Yeah. See, I think my biggest thing is I wasn't super high on Mayer. anyway, because I think out of that class, I know a lot of people try to say he was a best tight end. Like I definitely thought,
Okay.
yeah, like I honestly like Kincaid because that was at the time when we just got rid of Waller. So I'm like, who are we gonna get, man? So I like Kincaid, but I didn't think we are gonna be able to get him. And the reason why I really like Bowers because I actually watched a lot of film of his teammate Darnell Washington.
Oh
The
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
like
But the
his
year
big,
before, yeah, a lot of people liked him the year
yeah, I
before.
liked him, man. So, but then it's like you watch him and you see so much of Bowers, you're like, man, that dude's so fire. But my thing is like once we got rid of Waller, I'm like, man, the only thing that would make this better is if we had someone like Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
But I never even thought I was like, well, we'll
Yeah.
never get him. So the fact that we got him it was like, okay, now I'm good. But I don't know, man. I'm ready just to see what we're gonna do. You know, I got a lot of faith in him. But I'll just curious of what your thoughts were just on the draft because I know we talked about it kind of before, but
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was critical of the Brock Bowers pick. I think my favorite pick was Jackson Powers Johnson. I mean, I like as many people didn't think like we'd have a chance at Brock Bowers. I didn't think we had any chance at Jackson
At
Powers
all.
Johnson. I thought he'd
At
go
all.
like late teens, early 20s. So the fact that he was still there when we picked him in the second round, that was a coup for us, especially because he's a guy that can play guard. But I know a lot of people aren't really happy with Andre James. So he's a guy that can instantly slide in, in the future and play center.
Yeah.
And if we need a backup center, we can go to either him or we can go to Parham. So it adds a little positional versatility there.
Yeah.
And but then like from there on, like I really didn't like DeCamerion Richardson. Wasn't really a fan of
Yeah, he's a
the,
project. Yeah.
the DJ Glaze pick. I really didn't like. I love Dylan Libby. Like Dylan Libby was a guy like early in the process, like pre-Senior Bowl, like the end of the
Yeah,
college
he was
season.
about him.
I was talking about Dylan Libby. So
But
he's a guy
you're not one of them guys saying he's the next McCaffrey, are you?
nah, man.
Man, I can't stand that talk.
Nah, man. Like Rex Burkhead, Danny
Yeah,
Woodhead,
yeah.
like that kind of pick. Like if we're like like a souped up Jalen Richard, like if that's I'm good.
I'm
I'm
good
good
with
with that.
that.
I'm good
Yeah.
with that, right? He's a 6th-round guy out of Rhode Island. I want to say like I'm good with
New Hampshire. Yeah.
with that. The pick that I was real critical of, and this was because was Tommy Eichenberg, and I
Oh,
was
that's right. You
critical
know,
of that pick because we had a chance to get Spencer Rattler. And I think that Spencer Rattler is a guy that I think has supreme arm talent. And he played in the SEC. And I think the only reason Spencer Rattler failed was because of things that happened in his past that were still being held against him. Like everybody knows about that quarterback documentary where he's like trashing his teammates. But if you
yeah.
listen to his coaches at South Carolina, like he's the ultimate leader, like a complete 180 as a player. Like all the guys vouch for him. And if you watched him play, man, that dude took a beating
Yeah.
every week.
Kept
Like so you
getting up.
watch that Alabama game. It's like you start to cringe at some of the hits he was taking. But he would get up, dust himself off, come in there, next play, stand in there, and deliver strikes. And not like that team was supremely talented. So I thought that was like I'd rather take a chance on a high upside quarterback than a guy who I think in Tommy Eichenberg, who I don't even feel is a high upside linebacker. I feel he's like a middle, like if he becomes a competent NFL starter, I think like you're happy right there. So and he's a throwback guy. He's a 2-down linebacker. I don't
Yeah.
ever think he'll be a 3-down guy. So it's like
Yeah.
I'd rather take a Spencer Rattler there and take my chances with that than Tommy Eichenberg. But I like MJ Devonshire. I like Trey Taylor. Like I like some of our later picks. It's just that in some key spots, I think we could have did some other things.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that's making me okay with the Tommy pick is just hoping that just that AP factor. Just if he can coach him up. But you're right. He's always going to be a 2-down guy. Passing downs, he's coming off the field. You don't want him on no slot receiver. You definitely don't. I mean, you don't want him on no tight end either. Yeah, I'm not really. I really don't have an opinion of him either way. He's okay. At the end of the day. So
yeah, I mean, like like when I think of like Tommy Eichenberg, I like it's like throwback, but a lot of people don't remember these guys. But like, remember like what's my guy's name? Was it Ben Morris? Was the guy, the little linebacker out of Kansas?
Oh
or,
yeah,
or,
yeah,
or and then like Slade Norris, striker Sulak,
yeah, yeah,
Co Moore, like
yeah,
these high motor guys. Like
yeah,
like at the end of the day, man, you like to play, and especially nowadays to play linebacker in NFL. There's a requisite amount of athleticism that's
yeah,
required,
yeah.
and I don't see Tommy Eichenberg having it.
Yeah, he's like Rudy or something, man. Like this little thing running around. But just kind of going back to the receiver show, man, because again, that's a lot of people are talking about. Um, once AP took over, you can just see the complete change, and we all knew that, just from the outside looking in. But to me, it was just crazy because which I guess I should have known, but the fact that Tay basically said I signed off on Jimmy getting benched, which I
Yeah,
mean makes sense.
hospital balls, bro. I'm sure he did.
Yeah, yeah, he's like, man, I'm done with that. But I still keep thinking, man, it's like, is Jimmy would Jimmy have lost that Vikings game?
I don't think so.
I don't either, man. I
I
don't
don't think
either.
so. I think that if he was the starter, he loses the game. But I think that oftentimes what you see is that when you bring in a backup quarterback, it kind of ignites the offense a little bit, and it gives the defense a look that they haven't been seeing. Like that's what the Vikings did to us. Like
Yeah,
they,
that
it
that
and not like we needed a whole bunch. We
that
just
is
needed
what,
a field goal. Like we didn't need
bro.
too much. All we needed was a field goal. So like the thing that kills me is that I just hate like people like giving credit for like things you shouldn't do. Like they'll be like, "Oh man, well, ain't no Connie didn't he didn't turn the ball, he didn't lose us the game. Like he didn't win us the game. Like I'm not looking for
Right,
somebody that's not going to lose us the game. I'm looking for
right.
somebody that's going to go out there in this situation and win us the game." So like he didn't win us the game, and so he came back the next week and he
He did
balled
his
out.
thing.
So
Yeah,
he did his thing. But like I said, that situation was, I think that was a team that had kind of quit on their head coach.
yeah,
So like he's no him and our GM, they both got fired. So
yeah.
so if you guys don't like Tom Telesco, you guys can thank Aiden O'Connell. I guess you can thank
There you go.
Tom Telesco.
What's your thoughts on Tom so far, man?
Oh man, I'm not.
It's
I
still a little early.
like I said, he hasn't done a lot in free agency. Like I think I'm extremely happy with the Christian Wilkins signing. I think
Yeah,
that it's I can't even think of the last time. Like we've never. I don't think man. I can't even think. Like it's been like since maybe Darrell Russell, since we had a defensive tackle, or maybe like we had a little bit like Richard Seymour, a little bit Warren Sapp, a little bit, but we've never had a guy in the middle in their prime like a Christian Wilkins. Like, and that's something we've all been crying for years, like getting that presence. That's why I wanted Jalen Carter so bad last year, but that's neither
me
here nor
too. Me too,
there.
man.
But like he hasn't really done a whole lot in free agency. I think his biggest weakness with the Chargers is hiring head coaches. So I think Mark Davis was intelligent to kind of take
To do that. Yep.
that responsibility out of his hands. And he did it with a guy. I think that was an obvious choice in AP. So we'll kind of see. He's known as a player personnel guy. Came up under Bill Polian. Bill Polian has made some questionable comments in the past, and especially about guys like Lamar Jackson and some other stuff. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's respected as a talent evaluator. So hopefully that shines through. Hopefully, like we come back in 2 or 3 years and DeCamerion Richardson turns out to be he's closer to Tariq Woolen than he is to Isaiah Johnson, who's a guy I kind of compared him to. So
Mm.
like like let's big athlete, like
I
very
didn't think he
similar.
got a good. I didn't think he got a good chance, man. I actually liked him, man. I just think he didn't.
Isaiah Johnson.
Yeah, I just
He
don't. I
was,
don't
he
think
was
we
super. He
gave him
was
enough.
crazy athletic. He was crazy athletic, but
Yeah,
he was a converted wide receiver. So it was going to take time, and it just
exactly.
never came to fruition. So we'll see, man. Like I said, like he's supposed to be the issue I had with Tom Telesco, and which is why I was so critical of him this past draft is if you look at people talk about Tom Telesco being good at drafting players, right? If you look at his drafts, where he's had his best picks in the first round have been defensive players or offensive linemen. like that's where he's shined, right? You think of Joey Bosa, Derwin James. I can't think of the tackle. Isn't that Rashawn Slater?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, he got Rachel.
like
Yeah,
so like
tackle.
those are the guys he's had success with in the first round, right? Think of the guys he hasn't had success with in the first round. Skill players: Melvin Gordon, Mike Williams. Like, outside of Justin Herbert, who kind of fell in his lap, he hasn't really had a lot of success drafting skill players in the first round. He traded up for Melvin Gordon, right? And look at, and that turned out to be not that great of a pick. Mike Williams is a guy who's like perennially underwhelming as a wide receiver. So he hasn't had a lot of success drafting skill players in the first round. So that's why I lean toward offensive lineman, a quarterback, or I wanted a cornerback in the first round if we could have got one. And he went with the skill player. So we'll see how that bears out. Brock Bowers is very highly rated, so I'm hoping it works out because he has all the talent in the world. It's just about will we use him correctly.
Yeah, yeah, he did draft Derwin
Yeah.
James. But he also he found Austin Eckler out of nowhere, undrafted. That was a good find there.
Yeah. Like late in the draft, I mean, like he's done pretty well
Yeah, he found some guys.
with some gems later on. So we'll see, man. Like I said, some of the later picks I mean, JPJ is my favorite pick of the draft.
Yeah,
for us, I think that guy is going to instantly come in and improve our offensive line and improve our toughness up front. And I think with a guy like Zamir White, I know you're not as fan of Zamir White.
See, here you go. Here y'all go, man. Here y'all go. Here y'all go. Speaking of Zamir, well, now go ahead and finish your thought. What were you saying?
No. Go ahead. We can go ahead and segue. You can go ahead and segue.
Yeah. So speaking of Zamir, so a lot of people showing, my boy been in the weight room. He been eating good, working out good. Everybody excited about this, man.
Yeah.
I know people won't think I'm a hater, so I'm just gonna say it. The muscle don't mean nothing to me, man. Is his instinct gonna get better? Is his vision gonna get better? That's what I care about, man. But I mean, I love that he's in shape. But if you know anything about Zamir, he's always been stupid big, man. Like even in college, I mean, high school, he was just a big dude, man. Always worked out, like that's his thing. And I love the fact that he knows that this is his chance to really take it to the next level. But look at they call me hater already, man.
I see.
But I'm just saying. So I mean, when you see this picture, are you impressed? I mean, like I said, I'm glad he's in shape, but
yeah,
are you impressed?
I mean, kind of like you said, man. Like that, those muscles don't mean a thing to me. Like I'm not worried about and what that looks like is that's like like if anybody that's ever worked out, then like right after you get done lifting, you get that pump. All the blood, and you look ahead, like let me get this picture. So that's what that looks like to me. But I said last year, right before the game when Josh Jacobs went out, because I've been saying Zamir White is good for a long time since he was at Georgia.
Yeah.
I was saying he was good, and the game before he played, right? I hit up. I want to say I hit up Big Mike. I want to say I hit up Pharaoh too. I was like, tomorrow, watch Zamir White is gonna have a big game. Because I've been saying for a while, all he needs is a chance. I think a lot of people passed on him because he had those 2 ACLs. But he's a guy that's like 6'6" something, or 6'1", 6 feet, 200 something pounds, ran like a 4.4. Like he has crazy speed. I think people talk about his vision. Like I didn't see any vision problems when he was at Georgia. So I think that might have been more of a product of the offense we were in, because his vision was pretty good. He doesn't have the greatest vision. He's not like a like a Le'Veon Bell in terms of vision. He's not like that level guy, but he's a guy that he had pretty good vision. And with his blend of size and speed, I thought that he would be a pretty good player. So I was more like you already know, bro. I've been comfortable with letting Josh Jacobs go for a minute. I had his back.
Don't get me started, man.
So I was cool with that. So I think Zamir, man, and another thing, but what that picture shows me more than anything is that he's working. And that's one thing you can say. Like when he was one of the leaders on that Georgia team. When they asked him, hey, you know what? Right now you're the top dog. Like, are you excited about being a leader? And he was like, hell yeah. Like he loves taking on that kind of role. So I'm glad that he's getting an opportunity. Shout out to my guy 805, man. But so I'm glad that he's getting that opportunity, because I think he's going to be a productive player.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, shout out to Real Talk, man. Yes, he said, so you could be as big as you want. You better have the vision and instincts to go with it. You got to make that first man miss for sure. So I think Watts Raider, He said the bigger you are, the more weight you got to move. But no, he's a specimen for sure, man. And I want him to do well. Everybody take what I say out of context, man. I
Nah, man,
definitely want.
like let's go. Like I can say, like if you're critical of a guy, like it's not like it's out of place of love. Like if you're critical, like you
Thank
don't
you.
think that's the right move. It's not because you don't like it's not because you don't like the player. It's because you love the team.
I
Like
love the team. I
you put the
protect the
team over
shield,
the player.
man.
Man.
Exactly.
So it's like, that's how it
Exactly.
is. So like all this criticism is coming from a place of love. I think a lot of people don't, a lot of people don't grasp that. It's not, I'm not saying I don't like these guys or I'm critical
Yeah.
because I take the guy. I'm critical because the Raiders have had, I want to say 6 winning seasons since free agency started in 93, like 6 winning seasons since
That's
then.
wild. That's
So
wild, bro.
so it's like I'm looking for a change, right? So I want the team to do well. So
Yeah.
so I mean that's what it is. But I mean I think I see Watt say it's going to be a committee. I think it is going to be a committee, but I think Zamir is the tip of the spear, and I think he's like it's going. Like, we see what he did against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? In a game where our savior Aiden O'Connell, I think he is that the game he almost broke Jamarcus Russell's record.
The Chiefs, yeah, Chiefs.
Exactly. And when everybody in the world knew we could only run the ball, that's the only way we can generate offense against one of the top defenses in the league, against one of the best interior defensive linemen and Chris Jones. Zamir White carried us to that win, right? When we had to get those yards, he's the guy that got those yards. So I think that if he can do it in a situation like that, when everybody knows he's going to get the ball, I think that he can have a productive year. He's not going to be like league leading rusher or anything like that.
No, and we don't need him to be.
Yeah, just be like 1,100, 1,200 yards, 3.9 to 4.2 yards a carry. I'm good with that. And we saw last year he's improved as a pass catcher, right? He's not Charlie Garner, he's not Marshall Faulk, but if he can be a threat out of the backfield, I'm good with that.
I mean, be good enough so the defensive coordinator has to respect your play action. That's really all I ask. Make those linebackers respect it to keep Tay. I mean, I know Tay will never be clean, but like the Michael Mayers of the world and the Brock Bowers, so they can be clean. That's all I can ask. At the end of the day, I don't know. I think I keep thinking back like what I saw early in the season and like especially preseason. Because he looked so bad in preseason.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, man, is this dude even going to make the team? Because I remember at that point, who was that veteran running back? He was the best running back for us. What, Damian Williams or something?
Damian Williams,
he was the best. He was our best running back in the preseason. I don't know. I guess I'm not giving up on Zeus. I mean, I hope he does well. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't put too much credence in preseason anymore for running backs. Ever since what's the guy that we had that was killing preseason?
Every year we got him. Was George Atkinson the third one year?
Atkinson the third.
Trey Regis or something? One year.
Trey Regis. I think Tywan Jones killed it as a running back in preseason one
Chris
year.
Warren.
Chris Warren's the guy I'm talking about. Chris Warren was the guy who was like, everybody's like, man, you see what this guy? He did like two preseasons in a row. Like he's killing.
Yeah.
Never saw the field. So
it's
one situations where I told people like running backs, it's you can't like watch them on isolated carries, especially a guy like that. Where it's like he's coming in, he's getting 1 or 2 carries because generally how running backs go is like, hey, this is 1 carry for 2 yards, another carry for 3 yards. Maybe you lose a yard right here, and then they pop one 10, 15 yards. So that's generally how it goes. So you got to give these guys, some more touches. And once he started getting more touches, we saw that he was productive. So I think that, like 1,100, 1,200 yards, double-digit touchdowns in that range. Like I said, I think that'll be productive for us, especially considering what I think Madison will do. Because the year that Josh Jacobs, and we need a committee. So I want to say the year that Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing, we were still like 18th or 19th.
Because it was just him.
It was only him. So like we need more than one guy. So if Madison come in there and do his job, I don't know if Christian McCaffrey Jr. is going to take Amir Abdullah's job or not, but no, one of those 2 guys we need to also be productive as well.
Yeah. It's see with me, like I don't like I do want another running back, but as far as the committee goes, like I don't want a whole stable running backs for that reason that you said. These guys need their touches because I think Cleveland always did it well with Kareem Hunt. They still made sure they kept giving the ball to Nick Chubb enough because that's the thing. Nick may get stopped 3-4 times, and next thing you know, he busts one for 60. That's just you know, that's the kind of runner he is. And I think Zamir could be the same way, but it's like, I don't want him just to get a couple carries here. And then they almost have like a rotation going with, you know, those other guys. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. What other news? Richard Seymour buying a stake in the Raiders ownership. Does that mean anything to you? Is that, you know, I know a lot of people made a big deal about the whole Brady thing. Do you feel a way, you know, do you feel a certain way about Seymour? Me personally, I'm a big Seymour fan. I like Seymour. I love seeing this. I mean, you know, I just want to see what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. I mean, he's a guy that he's been around the team. I think he's been helping kind of make decisions, so it could kind of make sense. Like it's crazy to think, right? Like you think about when we hired Josh McDaniels, like, I don't want no Patriots here.
Right, that's what I was about to say.
When we tried to sell, and like we tried to sell a stake in ownership to the greatest winner possibly in the history of sports, in Tom Brady, in the league that has more parity than any other league, right? He won. All he did, he won 7 rings. Now, how we got to him, you know, hey, you know what? Like they say, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So he did what needed to be done, you know. And I think we were at the expense of one of those wins, but that wasn't not like he made that call. People hold that call against Tom Brady,
against him. Against
he's the guy,
you cheated.
Like
hey man,
that was the ref. So I mean, so and we see the effect that having that kind of star power in your organization can have on your team. You perfect example, right? We were going to hire Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury gets a text or gets a call from Magic Johnson, who's not even a football guy. And next thing you know, Cliff Kingsbury's with the Commanders and not with the Raiders. So if you have a guy that has that kind of gravitas, like you can do some great things. You see what Tom Brady, he went to Tampa Bay, right? A team that couldn't win. He gets Antonio Brown to keep his head on straight for a season, and they go to the Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl. So I think you have a guy that with that kind of leadership and that kind of charisma that can help your organization. So that's why I didn't mind Tom Brady. I don't mind Richard Seymour, right? He's a guy that, for all intents and purposes, he's a class act, right? He's a guy that was, you know, the consummate professional his entire time with the Patriots and for his time with us, and he's a guy that kind of stuck around after his playing time was over. So Mark Davis, he loves, you know, these former players. You know, he kept Marcel Reese around for a while. We see George.
His dad was like that too.
Yeah. Old George Atkinson was around forever. Willie Brown was around forever. So, when George Atkinson's still with us, I want to say he's still like,
I'm about to say,
he's a scout. And, you know, like George Atkinson ain't doing. Who's George Atkinson scouting, bro?
Right.
Every time I hear George Atkinson talk, I swear I think that dude, he's loaded, bro. Every time he talks, bro, dude is loaded. Only thing he's scouting is the bottle of Hennessy, like. So
kicking it, man,
with some boneless wings. Shout out to Myra. But
oh man, not the bone. Don't get them started on the boneless wings, man. Oh man. Shoot. Last thing. So another list that kind of came out. And again, this goes to, you know, our fans. We don't like being objective. So I got in an argument the other day because I said that I don't think that Jack Jones is like a top 5, top 10 cornerback. These people are trying to tell me he is a top. They said maybe not 5, but he's at least a top 10 cornerback. I'm like, you guys are out of your mind, man. So here's CBS's list, and I'm not too mad at it. But my thing is, am I crazy for not thinking Nate Hobbs or Jack Jones should be in the top 20?
Nah, bro. Like if you look at the names up here, I mean, I think you're right on. I mean, yeah, man, I think you're right on, bro. I mean, like I can't think of a guy on this list who I would put him over. Like who on this list, right? Like maybe. Not even Derek Stingley because he bought out last year. Rasul Douglas, we had Rasul Douglas. You know,
we dropped the bag. We dropped that.
Dropped the ball with that one. Not the first time. You know, we've done that.
Yeah.
But that's not a guy on this list. I you know, like Marshawn Lattimore is kind of falling off. Marlon Humphrey, he's kind of hurt all the time. You know,
but I would trade for Lattimore today. I would trade for him today.
Well, I would trade for that. I mean, depending on what we getting up for him. But yeah, I mean, like Jack Jones, I think talent wise, he has the talent to be one of these guys. But Jack Jones, he hasn't done it consistently. Like he had one great half a season, and before that, the Patriots were willing to give up on the guy, and he cleared waivers from all the teams that are in front of
All the
us.
teams.
Nobody wanted him.
Yeah.
And the thing about Jack Jones is that now I kind of compare Jack Jones to Vontaze Burfict, right? Vontaze Burfict was great with Paul Gunther.
You gotta keep him reeled in.
You gotta keep him reeled in. And he had that special relationship with Paul Gunther where they had the understanding. And Paul Gunther wasn't, and even really Paul Gunther couldn't keep him under control because we saw that hit he made against Jack Doyle. And that's what
but that was BS though. That was BS.
Yeah.
That was weak.
And that pissed me off. That ended his career. And our defense was playing well before that. Our defense was playing well. Vontaze,
he was playing well.
He was playing well. At being the captain of that defense, we were doing well. And then once he was suspended for the year.
Yeah, that was it. They wasn't gonna give him no more. Yeah.
But Jack Jones has that same relationship with Antonio Pierce, right? Jack Jones was kind of a trouble kid at Long Beach Poly, but he was so talented, he got a scholarship to USC and ended up not working at USC. And he ended up having to enter the transfer portal. And where'd he go? Back to his coach and Antonio Pierce at ASU. Then he gets drafted in the league with the Patriots, right? Doesn't work out with the Patriots. They put him on waivers, which is essentially like the transfer portal for the NFL. And then
right.
What happens again? Antonio Pierce vouches for the guy and brings him in again, and he plays well. So it seems like he's an Antonio Pierce dependent player. And if Antonio Pierce isn't there, like you kind of don't know what you're going to get. So I can't put that guy in that spot. And then Nate Hobbs, he's hurt all the time. I think that's one thing that hurts him. But I love Nate Hobbs as a player, right? I think like as a slot corner, I mean, I know maybe McDuffie is better than him. I think there's a guy in with the Bengals. I forget his name. But like I think he's a top 5 slot corner.
Oh, for sure.
But as a top 20 corner, period, I can't put him up there yet.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And again, I just think our fans just do that a little too much. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm sick. Even though we didn't have a chance to get him, but I'm sick seeing Devin Witherspoon up there because that is who I wanted. Like I wanted Jalen Carter first, but Witherspoon is who I wanted right after that. Man, I knew he was gonna be a dog.
Yeah, I mean, like much like Brock Bowers this past year, where I didn't think we had a chance with Jalen Carter. I was like, that wasn't even a possibility, right? The guy I talked about all year was CJ Stroud. Was like, you know what?
Yeah,
I know we wanted. I think we thought we needed a quarterback. I was like, yeah, we got to go up and get CJ Stroud. So that was the guy I was. But when it became clear that that wasn't even a possibility, and I saw Jalen Carter slipping, I'm like, dog, like when we were on the clock, I'm like, yes,
yeah, me too.
We got the best player in the draft at a position of need, and it was a weak defensive tackle draft, right? You think about that Georgia line, all those first round picks, Deontay Wyatt, Jordan Davis, the guy, I always forget the guy's name that went to the Jaguars, the first overall pick.
Are you talking about the quarterback?
No, the first overall that went to the Jaguars. From Georgia, that went to Georgia. He was the first overall defensive end. He got picked over Aiden Hutchinson. I forget my guy's name all the time.
God, what is his name?
Somebody gonna put it in the chat.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
But like you think about all those first round defensive lineman guy, right? Even the guy this past year, another Georgia guy got drafted in the first round this past year. Everybody knew Jalen Carter was the best player, and that was like as a sophomore.
He was better than all them.
As a sophomore, better than all those guys. So we had a chance to get him, and we didn't go for it. I was like, man,
I was sick.
He started dominating. Immediately started dominating.
Yeah, I was sick because I was because then I'm like, all right, if we didn't get him, because I was like, all right, we're getting him or Gonzalez. I was like, we're at least getting one of the two. I'm like, as long as one of the two was there, I'm Gucci. Man, I was so damn pissed, man. That was, oh my God, that was sick. I was sick with that one, man. Shout out to the Nada, man. He said, I love the takes. It's different than most podcasters out there. I really appreciate it, man. I can't do it without the Shield Squad, man. So thank you guys. But Severe, man, I appreciate your time, man, and I value your time. like I said, I've been chasing you more than A-Rod chasing DaVante, man. I got you though. I got you.
For sure,
But yeah, I really appreciate it. Again, you know, everybody, make sure you guys. I think D Menace put your stuff. I think he put your information up. So man, make sure you guys look up my boy Severe, man. Fire content. Like I said, ever since I saw him the first time, man, I'm like, I got to get him on the show to talk that talk, man. So this was a true, you know, true blessing, man. I appreciate it. We gotta do another show sometime. When you gonna get yours started? Oh, and the guy they're talking about was Walker.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Everybody thought, you know, Aiden Hutchinson should have been the first overall pick, but yeah, that's neither. But yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on, man. Shout out to the Shield Squad. I know the dudes they be in here deep, man. You know, that's some great fans for real. I mean, I know they always repping. So yeah, man, we definitely gotta do it again, man. You gotta hop on with me. I gotta hop on with you, man. We gotta get you back on the 50-50 show too, man.
Oh yeah.
Definitely gotta link up again, man. Like I said, like my very first time ever on YouTube, man. You know, is with you. I think we had Big Mike and Primos and
that was a good.
So you know, and I knew back then. I was like, okay, all right, this dude knows his stuff. So I was like, all right. So ever since then, man, I've been keeping tabs on you guys over there, man. So
yeah. We try to have fun, man. Like I said, it's and I love and shout out to my TRS crew, man, because we're like brothers. And you talk about some people that argue. Man, when you if y'all would see the daggone group chats between me, Rundown, Leo, and especially Turf, man, me and old man Turf be going at it, man.
Man, I told Rundown that if Cognac was a real person, it would sound just like Turf.
It would sound just like Turf, bro. Oh my God! Shout out to my brother, man. Shout out to my brother.
Dude is cool as a fan, man. But yeah, man, all you guys, man. I love what you guys do, man. I love what you guys do.
Yeah,
man.
I appreciate it.
Chemistry is great, man. I can tell you guys, like, it's really, really a tight bond, man. So yeah, man. I gotta hop on the TRS, man, and shoot the shit with y'all.
Oh man. Yeah, let us know, man.
I know it goes down over there, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I might have to bring out the Zimas. I might have to bring the Zimas back on that special edition, man. Man, but yeah, shout out everybody, man. You going to the opener?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be. I mean, no, I'm in LA, man. You know,
that's right. Yeah, so I'll see you, man. We all gonna be out there kicking it, man. Gonna have a tailgate. It's gonna be lit, man. So we'll definitely link up for sure. And shout out to Strawberry Lemonade. I'm still waiting for my check from Wendy's
for the sponsorship, man.
Right? Yeah, I need that. Hey, if I start wearing a Wendy's shirt, man, hey, mind y'all's business, man. Mind y'all business. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. Hey, Shield Squad, I appreciate you guys showing up and giving love. Like you guys know, every Wednesday I got a show with Spicy Raider Girl called the Spicy Shield Talk. I got this show every Friday, and I got a show with my brothers TRS every Sunday, man. So make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you know when I'm live. You know, I appreciate all the love. Make sure you guys holler at myself or Leo for the raffle. Again, there's only 10 spots left, and I think actually I got a couple dings on my phone, so we may have a little bit less because I think I got a Cash App or two. So, but definitely hit us up, man. So I appreciate everybody. And as I always say, players and coaches come and go, but we must always protect the shield. Love you guys. You guys be safe. Take care, y'all.
We be them Raiders. We be them Raiders. We be them Raiders just